General Hospital, GH, spoilers recap for Wednesday, March 16, reveals that Esme Prince, Avery Kristen Pohl, scored new Am.mo and made Ryan Chamberlain, John Lindstrom, proud. Elizabeth Baldwin, Rebecca Herbst, also fumed over her mom and dad's move, so here's how all the action played out. At GH, Carly Corinthus, Laura Wright, found Cameron Weber, William Lipton, and let him know she was sorry about what he was going through due to the video. Carly said that Cameron and Jocelyn Jacks, Eden McCoy, needed each other right now, so she urged Cam to talk to her daughter. At Charlie's pub, Jocelyn greeted a guy named Adam, Joshua Bennard, for their study session, but he started talking about chemistry and mentioned seeing the video of her naked. Joss was outraged over Adam thinking she posted the video, and she insisted Cameron didn't do it either. After Jocelyn told Adam to get the hell out, he took off right as Cam showed up. Once Cameron found out what had gone down, he threatened to go after Adam. Jocelyn convinced him to stay put, so Cameron sat at her table, though they felt like they were more recognizable as an item. Cameron was willing to avoid being seen in public with Jocelyn, but she shut down that idea. Jocelyn considered transferring schools at one point, but Cam refused to let her since she loved PCU. In the end, Cameron and Jocelyn agreed that they'd get through this together, but Joss still seemed upset over what everyone thought of her now. Next, Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson, wondered why he'd meet with Victor Cassadine, Charles Shaughnessy, and called him out on a veiled threat against his family. Victor insisted this was about Drew's ELQ voting shares. Drew would only meet with Victor on his terms, so they arranged to see each other in an hour on the footbridge. After Drew disconnected, he made a phone call to inform the rest of the setup posse that Victor had taken the bait. Drew ran into Carly, who hinted about a very private moment going public for Jocelyn. Carly knew who was responsible and intended to get proof. After Drew offered a pep talk, Carly felt better, just like she always did after talking to Drew. When Drew's phone kept blowing up, he was forced to admit he had some need-to-know business going on. Carly was concerned about Victor and warned Drew not to put himself in harm's way, so he promised to be careful. As Drew took off, Carly still seemed worried since that's what Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, used to say. At Spring Ridge, Ryan gave a little wink as Esme prepared for showtime. Esme greeted Spencer Cassadine, Nicholas Chavez, and hoped Trina Robinson, Sydney Michaela, was ashamed of herself for leaking that video. Spencer hinted that Esme might be to blame, but she thought Spencer knew her better than that. Esme didn't get why it was so impossible to admit the truth, that Trina had access and a motive based on her jealousy. After Spencer insisted that he set Cameron straight, Esme softened and thanked him for defending her. Talk turned to the vow renewal, so Esme said Nicholas Cassadine, Marcus Coloma, really wanted Spencer to be there after his release. Esme wondered if Spencer was even listening to her since he was clearly distracted. After Spencer asked if Esme really thought Trina made that video, Esme said this was unbelievable. Esme was fed up over all the Trina mentions and ranted about Carly's violent outburst, too. Spencer was shocked over Esme's bruise and the news that Nicholas intervened. Esme acted like she was constantly being attacked when everything she'd ever done had been for Spencer, so he apologized. Esme said she was on her own with Spencer locked up, so he suggested they'd be together soon. When Esme confirmed that was all she ever wanted, Ryan watched them nearby and seemed pleased. Spencer assured Esme that he wouldn't do anything else to jeopardize his release, but he admitted his jaunt to the cemetery and how Trina covered for him. Esme sighed over Trina's name coming up again, but she was intrigued to learn Trina had lied to the police commissioner. At GH again, Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, excitedly filled Trina in on her new house with Curtis Ashford, Donald Turner, but she could tell something was bothering Trina. That led to Portia learning about the cabin video scandal and Esme's accusations. Portia wished Trina had slapped Esme for that. Portia felt Trina was cutting Spencer too much slack when he made bad decision after bad decision, including the decision to date Esme. Although she couldn't make Trina's choices for her, Portia felt that her daughter would be better off steering clear of toxic Spencer and Esme. Back at Spring Ridge, Spencer flashed back to Cam warning him not to lose his friends over his girlfriend. When Spencer looked up, Trina was standing there. In an exam room, Jake Weber, Hudson West, came clean to Elizabeth and Hamilton Finn, Michael Easton, about being in touch with Grandma Carolyn Weber and Grandpa Jeff Weber, last played by Richard Dean Anderson. Jake had been using the library computer to talk with his grandparents, who posted on his wall after Jason's death. Liz was upset over Jake keeping her out of the loop, but she insisted she wasn't angry with him. Elizabeth asked what Jake's grandparents wanted, so he said they just wanted to get to know him. Although Liz pointed out that Jake could talk to Scott Baldwin, Ken Schreiner, Jake acted like Scott didn't have the same appreciation for art and his interests as Grandpa Carolyn and Grandpa Jeff. Liz acted uncomfortable, so Jake wondered if she really hated her parents so much that she wanted him to hate them, too. After Liz insisted that she didn't want Jake to hate anyone, she tabled the discussion and sent him to apologize to Drive Massey for bailing on their appointment. Liz turned her attention to Finn and seethed over the situation. She didn't blame Jake, but she thought what Jeff and Carolyn did was unacceptable. As for the stalker mystery, Liz knew this put them back at square one. In Austria, Victor's man fired a shot before Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, ducked down. Felicia Scorpio, Christina Wagner, threw coffee in the guy's face before Anna knocked him to the ground. Once Anna and Felicia had their guns on Victor's minion, they tried to get him to talk. The man was Kurt, the safety inspector, so Felicia and Anna wanted answers about the sabotaged cable car. Anna realized Kurt had 2 phones and kept trying to pry answers out of him. Kurt felt this was nothing compared to the lives that would be lost. Kurt declared himself a soldier and was willing to give his life for a noble cause. Soon after, Kurt foamed at the mouth due to taking a cyanide capsule and died. To the deputy mayor Eileen Ashby, Heather Mazer, informed Victor about Laura's meeting regarding her Luke Spencer, Anthony Geary, murder suspicions. He was surprised to learn she was involved. Although Laura didn't mention Victor by name, Eileen was pretty sure Laura thought Victor was behind it. Once Anna called the number on Kurt's phone, Eileen answered for Victor, who promptly hung up after realizing it was Anna. Victor then threw the phone into the river while on the footbridge. Victor hinted to Eileen about having a plan B and someone unexpected being involved. Drew eventually showed up for his meeting with Victor, who hid the planted tarot card. Anna was frustrated over not being able to tie Victor to Luke's death yet, but she also suspected this was something much bigger based on Kurt's talk of dying for a cause. General Hospital spoilers say Anna will keep digging for answers, so stay tuned.